with your hosts, Wayne Noon, Fred Normal, and Uncle Saxon.
Second.
You're in your car?
I am. Yeah, I was out for a drive. I'm good though. Like I'm stealing someone's Wi-Fi, so nice clear.
Okay.
Yeah, nice clear picture and everything.
But you're in the middle of a hurricane.
You know what? They canceled my hurricane, man.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they unfortunately they decided to give all of it to the Bahamas.
Oh,
You
all
know.
right.
Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, I had my shirt and everything. You know.
Oh.
Like I was totally ready. You know, I've got like canned goods and stuff in the car. I was ready. You know, but it's Florida though. You know, we roll this way down here. You know,
Right.
we're crazy. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, you're used to this, so it's nothing to you guys.
Absolutely. We go to the beach in this weather, you know.
It's everyday life. Have you ever been involved in like a really bad one?
And Irma, I mean, I don't know, like if I say like really bad, it's like nothing compared to what to what some people have gone through.
Yeah.
You know, like Southern Florida, like the tragedies and stuff that have gone down there, like when Andrew like just like leveled the place. Back in like 92, like Jacksonville, you know, like North Florida, we're in this kind of like little pillow. We're in like this little middle pocket where, you know, everyone is really quick to buy like 24 packs of water from the store for like a 2 or 3 person family, you know. But then, you know, at the same time, like at the last minute, you know, the media will kind of have almost a disappointed tone, like, well, moving away from the coast, but you know, but stay vigilant though. You know, stay vigilant, stay evacuated, all that stuff. So we've had like little floods here and there. We've had, you know, few palm fronds in the road, you know, but we've been pretty lucky.
That's good.
Here where I'm at, yeah. So
I see.
It's always interesting though. You know, it's never boring.
Yeah, I see you got your guitar behind you there.
No, I
What is that?
It's probably my like my sunshade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Looks like...
yeah. All my guitars are at the recording space.
I'm like, this guy's recording shit during the hurricane.
Oh, dude, I wish.
He got inspired.
I wish. I came from there like a little bit earlier today though. I'm in the middle of the vocals now.
Oh, yeah?
I'm so tired. Yeah, I played so much guitar and I'm like tired now. I'm like tired of guitar.
Yeah.
You know, like I went full on like in the woodshed, and then by the time it was done, I was like, okay, like I don't ever want to see this ever again. And then a couple weeks later, you know, we're back like rehearsing and stuff because I let them, let them back in again. Before it was like, you know, don't touch anything, don't touch the mic placement, don't touch, you know, don't even look at the mic, don't even look at it, don't look at the pedals, don't do nothing, you know, because I'm not finished. Yeah. But I'm not sick of the guitar anymore. I'm back to normal now.
Well, that's good.
Just grinding on the record, you know.
That's good to hear. Well, we are here with Jake Becker from the band Skyliner.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah. First album, second album, right? And I think you got like 2 EPs thrown in there somewhere too, right?
We have the EP that. Thank you for showing those, by the way.
Yeah.
Very cool. We have the EP that we put out. Heck yeah, boy. We have the EP we put out last year, the Age of Virgo EP, and that was a 3-song thing, which actually, all that material was supposed to be on the record that's being recorded now.
Okay.
And the thing is, there was 2 reasons that I just kind of wanted to do, like 3 reasons I just wanted to make it its own thing. The first one was that to have that material included would probably stretch the record we're doing now to like over 80 minutes or something like that. Because the EP is like 21 minutes, and what we've got now is almost right at an hour, I want to say.
Wow.
It's a new record, it's right at an hour. The other reason is that the Age of Virgo EP is like, if anyone hasn't heard it, it's thematic, in that it's one of these things that we've done where we're sort of telling a little story, we're sort of instilling images in the listener's mind through this music, and it's the vast majority of it is instrumental.
Right.
And we've it feels like every album cycle we somehow end up cobbling together some kind of like big thing, and stick it on there. Like the first on Outsiders, the first record, it was Worlds of Conflict, which is the last song. It's in like 5 parts, and it's about that song is about a little episode I went through where I was sort of detached, like actually detached mentally, from like where we live, reality. And I'm already not here most of the time. I'm already in my world, so having a breakdown like that was an interesting experience. And then on Condition Black, there's the Divine Triumvirate, which was 3 songs punctuated by these little instrumentals, and they're all sort of interconnected. And that was more or less sort of just my feelings on these different spiritual, like religious ideas, like the benevolent, mysterious God, and then the intermediaries. And then like this idea of evil and sin and stuff, and that was all stuck together as like one big thing. So I guess you can consider that. And then the Age of Virgo thing is same thing, but the concept of it, I didn't want to have it really on the record because it sort of deserved its own thing. Like the cover of the EP, the art and all of that is all like tied into it. And I felt like if it was on this record, like it would get sort of like, like mushed in, like stuck in the middle. And you'd have people who, like on Condition Black, there's people that flipped, because the triumvirate on that is a very diverse piece. It's got sections which are literally improvised parts. Improvised parts. Sections where we created this thing and made this magic in the studio and just let it go. And there was people like, what the fuck, you can't do that. Like every song needs to be this and this, and like I'm not catering to that, but I didn't want it to get lost, because everything else on this new thing is very is very much it's not quite as out there.
Right.
So we put that out, and that's a digital only thing for now.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask because I downloaded it on the Amazon thing. I'm like, I don't remember seeing this on Amazon, for a CD or anything. So
yeah, and I was going to say, like, the third reason is that, like, I just think EPs are cool.
Yeah.
Right? Like everyone, like y'all can probably attest to this. Like you probably grew up like, you would have a band or whatever artist, and you'd have the record, and then you'd see this little mini release, like, oh, what's that?
Yeah, like Overkill's "Fuck You," for example.
Yeah,
big fucking.
Like you've got like, oh, this is like this little appetizer thing, and it's got tracks which aren't on anything else, and it's only like $5 or $8. Oh yeah, right on. Like, everyone loves that, right? I mean, everyone who listens to records loves that.
Right.
Who listens to albums, who are album people, right? We all love that stuff. So I was like, I want like a real like authentic EP, right? Extended play. So that's what that's all about. I am going to have it remixed and remastered for the purpose of having a physical release, and I would really like it to be on vinyl because the thing is so heavy. Like, it's when we do it live, like, there's things that come down like off the wall, like pictures and stuff, like in some of the grooves that are on it. Like, it's like stupid heavy, and I would really love it to have like a vinyl release at least. That's like kind of a little bit in the future, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
The only problem is labels don't really care about like about like that little kind of format anymore.
Right.
I might be able to sell it as like, hey, like, here's this release, and by the way, like, you can have this too. I don't care what you do with it, make it a double disc or whatever. But we'll see. It's it's just one of those things. It's all in the can. It's all stuff worked on.
That's cool. I don't know if you remember Greg, because we are all pretty much from the same group.
Mm-hmm.
Remember we were all from the Heart of Metal message board.
Yeah. Like, I haven't really frequented message boards and like
I haven't either.
That used to be. It's so weird. Like, I guess for most of us that was kind of like the way to gauge conversation and like viewpoints and like interact and like shoot stuff and all that. And now it's just like, now it's like that, but it's like a Facebook thread that's like 1,000 miles long. You have to go all the way down. You don't know like who anyone is, and you have to find like, oh, who said that, and you can't say anything because everyone's gonna get pissed off, and but we all used to be all about like message boards, stuff like that. So I maybe what about usernames? Like, if you throw me usernames and stuff, like, I might.
I was Death Cult.
Okay.
Yeah, I was Phoenix Rain drummer.
Okay, yeah. All right, Phoenix Rain, dude. Cool, man. I remember you, Greg. Like, no, like, personal thing. I don't remember that name. Specifically, I don't know if I remember that name. There's a lot that I don't recall.
For the past 10 years or so, I was pretty much a full-time junkie, so I wasn't around too much after a couple years. So I kind of disappeared, and I don't get on there that much now. I was really active at one point, but it's been about 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's changed a lot.
Well, in any case, like, welcome back, man.
Thanks, man.
To just living, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's been a good 2 years since I quit. So.
Yeah, cool. Right on, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'd be doing the show alone. Well, actually, I probably wouldn't be doing the show at all. I don't like to be alone.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have been any good. I'd just get really high and go on a bunch of angry rants. I can pretty much tell you how it would have ended.
I don't know if you remember Uncle Saxon, because he's usually on the show too. You remember him?
I do remember that name. I feel like he used to speak like in all caps, and that's
sometimes.
Like
yes.
Yeah, that's like how I remember him.
Sounds like him. Yeah.
But we had I remember I feel like he had like some kind of astonishing CD collection, like something like 5,000 or more CDs, like some just like ungodly number, like the kind of thing that you have to build a wall in your home or wherever you lived in order to keep them all. Something like that. Yeah.
You remember?
Cool. Yeah, that's cool, man. Right on. That's cool.
It's a big family reunion.
Yeah, that's cool. There was people like me seeing me for the first time and just be like, oh, it's that asshole, Yes, it is. I'm still alive.
About the only thing I really remember about you, honestly, was just the picture you had of I don't know if that was your silhouette made out of stars or something. I just remember it being like a dude in the stars and it was blue.
Right, yeah, that sounds like something I would do, so you're probably right. Yeah, you're probably correct on that. Absolutely. I'm gonna endorse that.
It looks like it would fit in with the album art, actually.
Yeah.
If I remember right. Yeah.
Yeah, we we like I didn't even mean to, but we've just gone into space like 2 times in a row now. We weren't in space. We weren't in space on the Age of Virgo art. We're more down to earth on that.
Okay.
When the new one comes out, you'll see that's a little bit different too. But yeah, we're out there in the stratosphere, visually speaking. Yeah, for a bit then.
It's your first album.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah, that one. You've got all the stars and stuff out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
when,
the second one is just like hovering over like a planet and stuff. That's busting out. Yeah, you've got the little the symbol like busting out of the planet and everything. There's like little spaceships and things. Yeah, all that stuff, dude. That stuff is just those. There's a lot of meaning in things, but a lot of the imagery is from dreams, like dream experiences. Yeah, dream experiences that I end up in the middle of, and that end up kind of like engulfing everything I think about. Those are satisfying. You know what? Those are one of the reasons that it's cool that you held those up. And it's a nice feeling that those things are satisfying to look at still.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah, I don't feel as close to that anymore. I don't feel as close to the records where I can't be like objective about it. It's been a little, a couple years now. 2016, 2017 ish was Condition Black. So it's been a little bit where now I can be like, oh, I can be far enough away where I'm kind of checking it out and saying, okay, yeah, that's cool. I'm good with this. Yeah, so that's cool, man. Just a little footnote there.
What is the symbol? And because I know you have it on the other album too. The symbol. Yeah. What's all that about?
That is based off of a famous crop. Well, it's based off of there's 2 sources going on with that. One is the basic design, like the actual design itself, the lines and stuff. That borrows from a famous crop circle, in which the measurements, like where the lines diverge and are cut and like stop and everything, when it was kind of like translated, as it were, the way they do with the measurements of a lot of the lines and the distances between the spaces and things like that of a lot of those formations, the unexplained formations, not the ones which are like obviously man-made. What's interesting about what people learn from those studies is that there's a lot of geometry happening, a lot of mathematics happening in many of those formations, and that particular one where the basic design is lifted from was suggesting pi.
Okay.
Which as you know, if you keep on calculating and keep on adding past the decimal, it's going to go on forever.
Right.
So like you can't really approximate the thing, like it just goes and goes and goes and goes. Like I think right now, like they have there's computers that mathematicians have been utilizing to try and see like how far pi can be calculated, and it just doesn't end. That's the nature of it. It doesn't end, and that feels significant to me in an, I don't want to say a spiritual sense, because we're talking about mathematics, okay? But if you wanted to bridge it, make a bridge from here and there, you could say, it's easy for people to look and say, that mathematics is kind of this language of God. And so that's I thought that was something that was important to kind of suggest. I think there's a lot of significance in it. Like I'm almost finished reading a book now by Alan Lightman, which is called "Searching for Stars on an Island in Maine." and it's as a physicist, it's kind of his account of having these experiences just being in the world, just existing like within himself, being in nature, and things like that, where he has these revelations like, wow, like I'm a scientist, everything is fact based, theories and practice, cause and effect, and these wonderful objective things that we build our world on, which everyone needs, which we all need. However, at the same time, he's finding that there's this inescapable mystery that you're just going to run headlong into. At some point during your existence, there's things that he can't explain, which speak to parts of him that he can't explain. And this book, Searching for Stars on an Island in Maine, is kind of like his diary of that, and that kind of life and experience, that's like my bag, you know what I mean? Yeah. So having that kind of symbolism within our art is important to me. And the other part of why that's there is going back to what I said about the dream experience. I had a kind of like a almost a one of these life-changing sort of dreams once, a long time ago, where the main imagery I remember is just a sphere with sort of language on it, like kind of branded into it, as though a like a moon, like a planetoid, had just kind of risen out of somewhere and was trying to speak something to me. Like I guess I don't know if you've seen like The Abyss or Sphere, like a film like that, where like just a regular person is in contact with something that's unexplainable, and there's this communication attempted, but the language is not, we don't have a reference point for that. Right. But that was the feeling of this particular dream, where there's kind of this thing, and it's got these lines on it. There's a language happening, and the overall vibe that I'm getting is some kind of communication. So I just said, there's a point where I just said, I want to use that idea, but we'll put something that has some kind of a little more concrete meaning. We'll just put the pie thing on there from the crop circle. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because we could have just like had an artist like, just like doodle on it, just write whatever. But I wanted to have something that's a little bit more like concrete. You can go back, you can research, you can look this up, and something that has a little bit more depth and meaning. So that's what that's about. And it's cool. And it's one of those cool things too. Not all bands have to have this, but it is neat when you've got a band, you've got an artist where there's something kind of recognizable from cover to cover.
Right. Yeah.
Like Queenstrike has like the Tri-Rike, or whatever the hell it's called.
Right.
Things like that.
Eddie.
The whole mascot. Eddie. It could be a symbol. Yeah. Whichever. So, I said, well, why not? Let's just like keep having the thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's always gonna show up like one way or another. It might be like Where's Waldo, where like I'll just have it. Like I'll have it like in some like tiny corner, and you have to like stare at the thing. You have to buy it. Yeah, that's what I'll do. We'll put something out where you have to buy the vinyl version to see where the little symbol is, because it'll be the only release, release where it's big enough you can like stare at it,
Yeah. Or what you could do is have a bunch of singles, and then all the on the back of the singles, they all form that logo thing.
Oh yeah, you have to
buy every single one
of them. You got to buy every single one of them, and then stick them together, and they all have to be like, one has to be like a Belarus only import. Yeah. One has to be like a Japanese release. Like one has to be some like limited thing that we did. There's only like 100 of in the whole world. Yeah, that's a good idea too.
It's a good idea. You're gonna make some money that way.
Yeah, I'll make enough to buy myself like another combo meal. You know, I'll make sure I give you credit for that when we do that.
I hope so. I take 20%.
There you go.
That's like the other day, last week, when the new Tool album came out. Mm-hmm. On the back of the album, there's I think there's like 4 different symbols, mm-hmm. and just random CDs have the different symbols on them. And this guy's like, "Oh, you only got 3 of them. I gotta get the 4th one." I'm like, "Really? It's just a symbol on the thing." But people are going crazy over that stupid little symbol.
Oh, that's great. Oh, and see, knowing them, like, it probably means absolutely nothing.
Probably not.
It's probably not. It probably means like one of them probably means like something ridiculous like Slurpee straw, right? Yeah. Or like, or do you remember? You know what else was like that? Do you remember all that stuff? I don't remember it firsthand because I wasn't going to concerts back then. But the Pink Floyd Division Bell tour. In the Division Bell record and like all the accompanying shows, there were all these like weird, like number-based symbolism things happening. Like in the artwork, like there were like a certain number of flags that these guys were holding in the field, which corresponded then to the number of lights on the cover of the thing. And then in certain concerts there would be like that same amount of lights like flashing in the back of the venue. And people started calling it this the Publius Enigma and trying to figure out what all of this meant, because somebody, I don't know if it was a prank or not, like somebody started like having these light displays at the shows on the tour when spelled stuff out, which spelled out like Publius, like Publius, I think. No one knows who this guy is or who or what Publius is or anything. Yeah. But there was this massive, like, accidental or not kind of side campaign making all these fans like wonder, what does this artwork mean and what does it have to do with these lights at the show? And what does it have to do? Is it, is there something about like a message in the lyrics? Is there something weird in the song order? Like, what's going on? And Pink Floyd never explained it or even like acknowledged it, which I think is really funny. Yeah. It might be just that David Gilmour is like the biggest troll in the world.
Right.
It might be. That stuff is funny, man. That's great. That's good stuff.
It is good stuff. So I was listening to both the albums. This one, I'm going to show it again so people can go buy it.
Thank you, man.
Nothing against the newer album, but this is my favorite one. Mm-hmm. This is more. They're both pretty similar, but this one's more like power metalish kind of style. I feel very a lot of catchy choruses and stuff on it. That's why I like this one the best. Mm-hmm. This one, you got a little darker on this one because I was talking the other day how you said this one is going to be a little bit darker, so it's going to be different.
Right.
So what made you change up the style a little bit?
Well, the thing is that the way I feel about those, to start with, I feel like those are kind of like siblings. Mm-hmm. Like it's almost like brother and sister to me. Like you sort of can't have one without the other. You know what I mean? Like they're just, I mean, it might just be because like I'm close to it in that way, but I feel like there's kind of this bloodline which sort of like connects those things. And then after that, like the EP last year and the thing that we have coming out, that's like a whole separate family. That's like something different. Mm-hmm. Just because of the feeling, it's not because the style is drastically different. Like don't worry. But it's just it just feels that way. It's got that feel to me. The thing about the from the first to the second record, we had a lineup change, and at first I was looking for another keyboardist, right? Because there was one on the first record, and so if you have a lineup change, you want to go and say, oh, we need to fill this role and whatever. And I had demos and stuff. You know, I had demos and stuff of like the title track, like Condition Black. I had a demo of that like back like a month or two before the first album came out. You know, that stuff was already kind of in the gestation stages. You know, but then we would be there and we would be listening to stuff. You know, the little demos, whatever I was putting together. I was trying to say, you know, like doing our regular meeting things, talking about, you know, I have an idea for the drums here. You know, this maybe should be like this. I feel like this would be cool if we went in, if we tried this here. And what I realized is, you know, like on the demos, I had added keyboard parts. You know, some of the guitar melodies on Condition Black used to be keyboard parts. And I was listening and I was just like, you know, like, I'm realizing like I'm only doing this because it's already here. Right. Because it's been done before. Now on the Outsiders tracks, you know, it was, I mean, I need to, you know, I need to first say like everything about the band is all about intent. There's always a reason for something. There's not like useless sound, useless riffs, useless words, like none of that stuff, you know. It needs to be for something because I hate functionless art. I hate it. You know, I can't like if you listen to like some big like new like post grunge alternative pop, you know, power pop, whatever the you know people call it these days, and you'll hear like this huge distortion. This is an example of what I'm talking about, like a big guitar. My question is like, why is your guitar like this big? Like what purpose does it serve? Because I can't find out, you know, when I listen to it, I just get this this instinctual feeling like you're only doing this because, you know, for production's sake, or because another band's doing it, or because of this, you know. You know, you guys probably don't know why you have this massive guitar sound or this massive whatever. So I'm listening to the demos we have, and I'm thinking, you know, if I'm honest, I'm only having these keyboard parts because we had them before. And before all those songs, the Outsiders songs, those were all, what I was getting to, those all were there with that intent. You know, they were conceived and created with, you know, with those in mind, with having the keyboards and stuff. But then, you know, all these new tracks, I'm just like, you know, that's not the same feeling to me. You know, I was feeling like, I mean, we were getting tighter, we were getting more technical, we were getting more, you know, just a little bit more aggressive with things. And I was like, you know, my gut feeling is just, you know, these songs, it's not like a drastic change in style or whatever, but they just need to be more like 3 people, you know, turned all the way up to 11, you know, just banging these things out, you know what I mean? Like not very many vocal overdubs, you know, like no extra things which would usually be considered extra, like in a power trio format, like keyboards and stuff like that. You know, I wanted to purposely make things stripped down a little bit from that point.
That's what I do notice, because like especially when you go do your leads and stuff, guitar leads, just you and the bass guitar and the drums. And I actually like that because it's kind of cool. You don't hear like an extra guitar from a guitar player you don't have.
Right, and yeah, see, that's the thing, because I'm such a stickler about stuff like that. You know, I'm just like, and that it was that way in the first record too. You know, there's not like a guitar like just, you know, noodling around underneath my lead. You know, you can hear the bass on all the stuff we have. You can always hear, you know, the bass doing something supporting the lead.
Right.
You know, because I'm just like, but we don't have a second guitar player. You know, so why is it gonna be? You know, because I want to be produced, but my conflict is I want to be produced, you know, and have that, you know, you listen to it and you know, this is, you know, we mean business, right? From a production standpoint. But at the same time, like, I'm trying to bring you into the show. I'm trying to bring you into the rehearsal space, right? I'm trying to give you, you know, the way I feel when I'm standing in front of the amp, you know, and all like the entire power of the room is like in my body. I'm trying to have that on the record too, and that's more important to me than like filling in this block of space or filling in that block of space or whatever, because that's what, you know, when I started loving heavy metal, that's what I love. That's what I love. You know, I'm not saying it can't be produced and slick and all this, but you know, there's this line between polished and just like, you know, like slick and smooth and there's no bite to it.
Right.
And we've got bite. We got bite to us. And so I said on Condition Black, we're just going to let the bite, you know, it's just going to show itself. It's going to be kind of put, you know, we're going to let it be put into focus. You know what I mean? So that's, from like sonically, that's why that record is, you know, the way that it is. I don't know that I necessarily considered it darker per se though, but I can, you know, I can definitely see like why it would seem, you know, like why it would seem that way. Because there's also the vocals are a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, you do a little bit more growling on this one than on the first one.
There's definitely a little bit more, there's a little bit more of kind of the head voice, like the sort of John Oliver sound.
Yeah, okay,
you know, or whatever it is, you know what I mean, like that kind of. But it's just natural, you know. Again, we tend to kind of we're putting the stuff together, and if something seems like okay, like this is where we're going, all right, you know, it just happens. And so I just kind of if it sounds good to me, I just let it go. You know, I let it go where it's gonna go. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, but there was definitely some stuff that I think like not only confused people, but just flat out made people angry.
When you get to the end of the album and then the drums are just doing something, and then you're doing something, I'm like, all right.
Sure. Well, that's one of the instrumentals that I was talking about, which is actually so that particular thing. That track is part of the triumvirate I was talking about, and the idea behind that is as I said, it's sort of my personal. It is a little personal because it's explaining and playing through ideas that I have about different religious, different spiritual matters, like the main things, you know, like the good God, and then you've got the middle thing, intermediaries, you know, angels. Or if you like, we can call them aliens, whatever you want to call them. And then, you know, this issue of evil. And so you have Starseeker deals with the first one, Starseeker. As above, so below, that deals with that concept of the intermediary kind of beings, that kind of idea. And then Morbid Architect deals with this idea of, you know, of evil, you know, of sin and things like that. And then listening, each one gets darker, you know, going through it until you get to Morbid Architect. The Morbid Architect is almost, it's almost straight up like a Swedish death metal track, you know, almost. But like reading the lyrics, I mean, that's what it has to be. You know, it's not as though we just said, hey, you know, we're gonna rip off this member or whatever it is, you know, and then, you know, we're just gonna do this because, you know, for the hell of it, or you know, like there's as I was saying, like there's a rhyme and reason and everything. And the part of the thing about the track with the drums that you mentioned, there's a couple of reasons which that appealed to me. One of the reasons is the idea of space. Utilizing space and silence in a track. All of us are some major jazz heads. You know, we're big jazz heads. You know, we're about Miles, Coltrane, Sun Ra, Pharoah Sanders, Herbie. You know, everything, man. And the more and the more cerebral it gets, like the better it is. Like for me, at least. You know, that's that whole era and that whole school of music has helped, you know, my musical journey like a great deal. And I wanted to have something in between As Above and Morbid Architect to sort of connect the two, and so that explores this idea of of creation and destruction, because in Morbid Architect, it's talking about the material world. In Morbid Architect, it's talking about it's my idea in trying to discuss this concept of sin or evil or whatever. It's trying to break it down. Like, what does that mean? You know, does it mean just you did something bad to someone else, you made someone cry, you killed someone? What is it? Or you know, can we go deeper than that? Yeah. And so my idea was, you know, if we have the separation between the material and the immaterial, if it perishes, if it's temporary, if it's material, then inherently it can't be perfect, right? If it's imperfect, that seems like an easy way to say, well, maybe that's sinful, right? Maybe, you know, just in a really simple sense. And so that song is all about the idea of maybe there's this being, or maybe there's this consciousness which embodies kind of this material world, like all this, you know, matter and stuff like that. And the previous song, Dance of Bliss, is all about like the destruction of that. It's like endorsing the destruction of those things. And the reason, the kicker for that is, the main reason that is primarily drums, is because I related this idea of Shiva, the Hindu god Shiva, with this, because this is very interesting. In Hinduism, you know, Shiva is known as the destroyer, right? And I mean, he's not the only deity that destroys, you know, that goes and wrecks anything. You know, he's not, but he's kind of a Wreck-It Ralph. And okay, like he, in order to bring about something new from creation, he always junks everything that's old. He always junks everything that came before. The previous universe is gone. It's destroyed. It's no more. And that's the only way to pave way for the new universe. And stuff like that was resonating with me at that time. You know, and even now, because that's musically, that's how I feel too. You know, I have to kind of wipe away a little bit that old stuff to make anything that's new and interesting. Right. You know, and the thing about Shiva is that he's holding a drum. Okay, that's his instrument. He's holding a drum, and in order to bring about this destruction and creation, like this cycle, to help that, he does a dance, a literal dance, holding this drum. So what you're hearing is kind of like my idea of like a soundtrack to that. Like, well, why don't we just narrate that? Like musically, why don't we narrate that, and we'll just name it after that, and that's what it's going to be. And to make things more interesting, I gave Ben on drums, I gave him a little direction, and we just said, we're just going to improvise it, you know, and make it come out in a really pure way. I don't know if anyone's done this on a record like this before, but we're going to do it. Let's do it, you know. And we were so tight at that point, and we were so in tune. The only rules we had talked about was, okay, at one point, we're going to exit having quietness and space, and we're going to start on an actual beat, like the actual dance, like this ritualistic thing. And you know, that's going to be where that really starts. And I'm going to, like, through the whole thing, I'm going to be there and just feel it out, like playing. I'm going to add textures, I'm going to add a little bit of melodies, and the listeners will be able to just have it surround you, you know, and have it kind of feed in and out of, you know, out of your consciousness. And what was really cool is that there was a point where I descended into a riff, and he didn't know I was going to play any of this. I didn't know he was going to play exactly any of that. And we sort of came to this conclusion. You can hear it if you play the track, where there's a build-up, where there's like a cymbal, boom, 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 where he comes right in on like this little triad note thing that's being played. And that was when I said, okay, yeah, you know, this is like worth it, you know. You know, but it was one of the things where, you know, some people like it, some people hate it. I definitely hope that more people give that kind of stuff a chance.
Yeah, I think with
we'll do it once in a while. We love to do stuff like that once in a while. You know what I mean? Definitely.
Yeah. No, with the explanation, it makes a little bit more sense now.
Sure. Yeah. And like the thing is, like the stuff about like explaining things is like this weird double-edged sword, because it's like, if you go into things like too much, then people feel like, oh well, now I can't have my own meaning and stuff like that. But if you don't do anything at all, then there's like, sometimes like people don't really want to, you know what I mean? Like it takes a while to get to where a lot of the audience will just like, they don't even want or need any direction. They'll just like dive right into it. Like we mentioned, like Pink Floyd. Like if that band was still around, they could throw like a shrubbery down a well and just record it, and people would find everything in it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's a rare thing, right? So like, there doesn't need to be like a little bit of explanation, but I don't want to make it like cheesy. I don't want to make it like too, in your face, right? Yeah. You gotta leave a little bit there. A
little bit for the imagination.
Yeah, it's important. It's all magic, man. Yeah. It's all magic to me. It's all part of that stuff.
So you guys work on the music all together, or you write most of it?
I'm usually coming up with like a skeleton of stuff. The one thing that I think is probably something that I think is a little unique, at least as far as I'm aware about us, is that the lyrics come first. It's not the music that comes first. The lyrics are coming first, because I'm a writer to some extent. Like right now, another thing that I'm doing is I'm slowly working on a I don't want to say anthology. It's a kind of medium-ish sized book of poetry. Okay. So that's one of the things I'm doing. I've always been a writer. Lyrics are something that's always been important to me, because when I was very young, there was a point in which I was essentially like a functioning mute, a mute person.
Okay.
I've never been completely all, like everything hasn't always been here, and I'm aware of that, and I'm okay with that. But there was a point where that's where I was. But music, discovering music, reading lyrics, seeing how all these things weave together, I said, that's how I can talk. That's how I can say something I want to say. I've figured it out. I've discovered it. Now I know how, now I know how to express myself. And so I was writing lyrics even before I picked a guitar up, before I attempted to make like noises with my face into a microphone. I was, I was writing stuff. And so for the band, I'll just be somewhere, I'll be doing something, be doing whatever. It could be, there could be any kind of situation, anytime, and I might just start writing lyrics, coming up with verses, choruses, having like a little, like some rhythmic ideas and stuff, and I'll have this, and I'll keep this, and meanwhile, we'll go in the rehearsal room, we'll jam. At this point, we're so in touch that we start out our rehearsals by just improvising like 30 minutes to 45 minutes just on the fly, from absolutely nothing. That's like where we're at right now. But we always jammed, regardless. We have been on a journey, to get to where we are. Yeah. Insofar as having the ability to do that. But in the jamming, you always come up with, we would always have like some piece of music that would happen. Or I might think about something we did later and just write a bunch of riffs, and somehow there would always be stuff which like perfectly suited these sets of lyrics. There'd always be like, I would go back and look, because I record everything, and I would go back and look and be like, oh, like, all right, like, like that's the Too Many Voices riff. that belongs to that song. before we're done with it, like I'll just know, like, okay, this definitely works with this, and I'll just, or whatever. I don't know why it works, but it works. That's just it's always been that way, and then I'll just it doesn't take a lot of retooling or anything to fit that lyric set, to tweak it, and then go back and tweak the music back and forth, that stuff, and make it all fit, and once I've done that, I'll have like that kind of basic little skeleton, as I said, and then I'll bring it to Ben and whoever our bass player is at the time, and I'll say I'll be like, so like, this is the idea, here's some ideas I have, let's see, you can interpret this, you can interpret that, we'll see what comes out, and that's how we put stuff together, pretty much. So it's a little bit weird, a little bit strange and unusual, but I myself am strange and unusual. So it's,
every band has their own way of doing things, I guess, right?
Yeah. Like, I actually want to, like, going forward, I am interested in trying to incorporate more of the improvising and more of the jam stuff that we do into songs, kind of like, unfiltered, unaltered. Maybe just recording more sessions and seeing, like, if we're at a point where we're doing this so much that we are actually constructing pieces, like whole pieces, as we go, and then maybe like hammering some stuff out of that, like sculpting something out of like those pieces, but still retaining the spirit of, like, we just did this. I'm interested in exploring that a little bit more, because that would be like the polar opposite of what this upcoming record is. Polar opposite of that. Total opposite of that.
Okay.
But I mean, we'll see. But it's always interesting.
Change is good. You can't always make the same album over and over again. So.
Yeah, and the weird thing about, like, the thing that's a pain about songs is, like, if I don't have a lyric, there ain't gonna be a song, right? We've got a couple instrumentals on this thing, a couple short instrumentals, because we had to take out the Age of Virgo stuff, which is longer, a lot longer, and so I just wrote like 2 new ones, but that's kind of a little weird rarity for us to have something that's an actual instrumental.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But I mean, you get to thinking, like, well, what if I don't have anything to write about? Is there no band? Like, is there no record? What if I'm not pissed off today? What if I'm not having a bad day? What if I'm not in an altered state of mind? Like, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? So I have to be ready, like, just in case. I'm like, well, I don't feel like writing.
Right.
What if I don't feel like writing the same way? Or what if, you never know?
Yeah.
You never know, man. So, there'll always be like threads of that in there, I don't know if it's always going to be like the same thing, like, over and over. I just have to hope that, I can find, again, with like intent and purpose, I'm not going to write a set of lyrics just to have lyrics, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I just have to hope that there's always something interesting. I don't get sick of it and whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Cool. Sounds good. Now, are we going to stay with this lineup for a while, or are we already trying to get rid of somebody?
No, I mean, that's the thing. I'm never trying to, I mean, I'm not saying it's not my fault, but it's not my fault. I'm never trying to. No, we've been people. Florida is such a weird place.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell anyone that's watching or listening. Look, Florida is weird as shit. All right. This is like, it really is everything. Like, if you've seen the Florida Project, the film, if you've read Florida Man article, look, I'm telling you, it's all true. All right, look at me. Take a look at me. I'm telling you, like, don't doubt this for a second. 100% true. Don't come here. All right. But Florida is weird. Musicians, it's not the same kind of thing as, any of your typically repeated cities like a Chicago, LA, whatever it is, where there's just bundles and bundles of musicians. You can just like go to the the guitar player store or the drummer store and just pick one out and home. This one doesn't work, I'm going to bring them back. This one needs repairs, I'm going to have them repaired and bring back. It's not like that. People are so there's so many factors today, depending on who you are, what you play. You can have like a million things against you if you are in a band. For us, being in Florida, being in America, that's two things. Playing the music we do, it's three things, you know what I mean? And generally being strange people, which we are, that has to be five things. I'm going to count that as two. That's two. That's five things. When you're looking for people which will be a good fit in something like what we are in this environment, in this time that we live in, and all this stuff, that is a pain, man. Like, that is like I'm fortunate to ever have had anyone like play with us. In all honesty, like it's something I consider fortunate. Even if you hate me, if I hate you, I don't hate anyone. But whatever, I know that I'm fortunate, that Ben is fortunate that anyone has ever bothered with us. So, it's difficult. It's very, very, very difficult in that situation.
Crap. I'm sorry. I got to cut you off real quick.
No, you're good, man.
I've got to hop off of here. The cash register, the drawer's stuck in it, and I got to call them up and tell them what to do. So
don't worry about it tomorrow.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Jake.
Go ahead.
Take care. Man, you're good. I appreciate you.
Real cool. You guys have a good night.
All right, I'll talk to you when I'm done.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, man. You too.
All right, get out of here. Goodbye.
I
Leave.
Make up your mind.
God, I'm kicking him off of the show. I can't take it no more.
Yeah, no, but like
I'm gonna fire him so bad. I can't stand that guy. God, he's just so annoying. No, Greg's cool. His job's a pain in the ass, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna play good cop here. I'm gonna be good cop. He doesn't seem so bad. He's just going through some stuff, man. Be good cop.
He's good. He's good.
No, but yeah, like it's difficult to begin with, but the guy we have now on bass, Stuart, he was on Age of Virgo. He has a very nice bass solo, by the way, on part one of that EP. Very, very nice. He has great work in that in general. But he's the feeling that it is right now is a really, really positive feeling. It's a good feeling. Mm-hmm. It definitely feels at this point in time, more like everyone always wants it to feel, like this is what we do, but you want it to be friends, you want it to be kind of a family thing, a hangout thing at the same time, and it hasn't always been like that. Now it's like that, and there's a lot more synergy and a lot more teamwork and that whole school of perks that go with that. So I'm happy right now. I think everyone's happy. That's the lineup that's going to be on the record. It'll be cool, and so we'll see where that goes. So far as that is,
Well, that's good. I know it's like trying to keep bands together. It's just a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah.
Big pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Especially like you said, especially in the music that you're doing, the music I like doing. It's hard to find people, to do any of that stuff. So, but I'm glad you found some people to stick around, and we'll hopefully be around for the next album.
Oh yeah.
And for the albums in the future.
Yeah. Like this one, I'm hoping. I'm trying my best to have something, have it like just there, everything there, ready to go, just out. All of a sudden, like bam, like in the first quarter of next year. But it's music, so you don't know. You have no idea. It's anything could happen. but we have we have taken precautions to ensure that that anything doesn't happen. That the worst case scenario does not happen. So I say there's a good chance of it. I mean, everyone will be hearing from us next year, like regardless. I would just rather it be like earlier than later.
Yeah.
Because I just want to get over with. Like honestly, like I'm not sick of it. I'm not tired of it or anything, but I'm getting there. Like I'm getting to that point.
Yeah.
But
you think to like finally be done with the band maybe one day?
No. I don't think that. I mean, like, but like just the way like this record is, but this is like every album though, because when we go in, like I like to go and lay things down when everyone is at like peak performance for that group of songs. Like I think the last time I listened to Condition Black, I was like, damn, dude, like I have to go back and probably like remember how to play some of those riffs and stuff, because like there's things that we get to this peak performance where we're just bathing in the songs, and that's when you want to capture it right there, and then you capture it and you're at this high, and you go out and you play shows, all the songs, everything is just fire, and then it dies down,
right,
and then like only a couple songs are left from the record that go on, that make it into the live show, but then you go back and you listen to the songs and you're like, oh my God, man, like we were like on something, because when you're just stuck in that vibe, you're just in the middle of that vibe, just in the storm, and it's like,
right.
Whoa, like holy, like wow, like one song like that for me, like in Condition Black, is Cages We Create, which is one of my favorite songs that we have. But it's like, dude, like we have, I mean, there was so much creativity and feeling that happened in that song, like just one song. Like, I'm not saying we're not creative now, we're not, but at the same time, like we had, like, I mean, it's I don't know if anyone has heard the song, like they know, like it's not, you can't really place it in a specific genre necessarily. It doesn't really fit in anything. You know what I mean? And it was only possible to track that with all the complexities and the different textures and moods that are in it, if we are at like the top of our game. And like right now, ever since we, from when we tracked the drums for this new record, we've all been at the top of our game for all these songs.
That's good.
And that'll be able to be, and you can hear it too. You'll be able to hear that just like on the other two records, just like on the EP. You can hear, like, at least I feel this way. I feel that, it's got a little bit of the it factor.
Yeah.
I think that's how you capture that. You've got to have that when everyone is in that feeling and at like the top of what that feeling is. I think that there's something that's invisible that comes through and really permeates the recording.
Yeah.
Like really enters the music, and then when the listener is there, especially if they're a new listener, don't have any bias, don't know anything, don't have expectations, they listen to it and it just like comes at you. That's why we listen to music, right? Like that's how we connect to the musicians playing it. That's what separates like our music from like from your Taylor Swifts or from your like all these assembled groups of like wall of sound faceless players playing songs written by like a team of 20 producers. You know what I mean? It's like that's one of the things that separates like music like this, you know, could be rock, could be jazz, blues, whatever, you know, like musicians, bands playing, writing, living all their own stuff, you know, no pretension, no BS, none of that. That's the separation, because the listener can feel that.
Right.
So I believe in that. And so, you know, that's why we go in like that. That's why we go in real hard like that. But it takes a toll on you. So yeah, like right now, working on the vocals, I'm just like, I love this, but I'll be so glad when I'm done doing this. You know, it'll be such a relief when I don't have to do this no more.
Well, just remember you're gonna do a follow-up, so you're gonna have to do it over again.
Oh yeah, but it'll be like new songs, you know, new attitudes and stuff like that. So it'll just be all new or whatever. There'll be like new themes, you know, each record. Like that's one of the other things that we have is each record kind of has, like, we end up like having like weird little themes in the record, like little sonic things, little stylistic things that for some reason just define. Like Condition Black, there was you know, it's you turn it up and it sounds a little bit more like some old school, this pounding heavy metal record. That was something that was all about. There is a little bit more rototom, like lighter sounding toms in there. Drum wise, there's more emphasis on cymbals on that record, and of course, you know, there's more just in your face vocal. Those were like parts of the personality of that record. Outsiders was like, you know, there was on Outsiders, there was a little bit more vocal harmony in parts. The guitar had like this, there was a certain approach to chords that I was taking on the songs on that sort of makes that sound how it sounds. And this one, you know, this one's got its own personality too. You know, there's like I can tell you there's a lot of percussion on this. Like we've got rain stick on this, we've got triangle on this, we've got congas on this, we've got it's not percussion but may as well be, we've got banjo on this thing. Like we've got, you know, that's just one of those things that just ends up being, you know, what the personality of it is, you know. And
now I gotta go back and listen. I listened to it a few times and I don't remember hearing any of those things.
Maybe I just which record was it?
Are you talking about the new album?
I'm talking
not the one you did. I'm talking about what the hell's the name of it? Condition Black.
Oh, Condition Black. No, the one we're doing right now.
You're talking about
that's got some rain stick on it. That the one we're doing right now. Yeah, that one. The right now one is the one that's just like full of percussion. Different percussion. We've always used it. We've always used different percussion. You know, like you can hear it in all the you know, different little songs here and there from the last two albums and the EP. But like this one that we're recording now, it's not like a gimmick. It's not like, oh look, you know, here's the tribal crap.
Yeah, let's just use that just for the hell of it.
Yeah, but it does, you know, it makes its personality known. And we have, like, I just bought like another like tiny drum the other day. I went somewhere and I bought something like just to use for like 15 seconds of one song. And I don't care because it's awesome. You know, you could use you could use a sample from somewhere, but there's no fun and there's no authenticity in that.
Right.
So you know, but it's one of those things. And so the process is so intense. You know, everyone is living in these little quirks that make up the record. Everyone is living in the intensity of being at the top of their game, and you go in and just you put it out and you love it so hard that you hate it by the end of the yeah, so I'm, you know, we're approaching that, but it's, you know, it's all good though. It's all good. That's where we're at though, man, right now with that.
Well, don't get sick of it until you're done. Finish it first. No. Because I'm really interested to hear the new album, because, you know, I do like the first two, so you're on a good roll so far.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, you know, I'm getting used to feeling that myself. You know, I'm very hard on myself and on the band, and I've probably been like too negative before. You know, kind of like being like a microscope, like looking at every little thing that I don't like or I want to change. And every band has things they want to change. Every album, you know, they're just like, oh, I wish I could have, I wish this, I wish that, you know, why is this here? This should have been different, whatever. And I've had to learn to
let that go. Just let it go.
Let it go, man. You know, let it go. Like I try to make the best thing I can, and I get frustrated if, you know, if too many people are not like seeing that. But you know, you let it go. So it's, you know, that's really cool. Definitely appreciated. That opinion's definitely appreciated, and anyone else that has that kind of positive thoughts about what we do, I appreciate that. That's something that means a whole ton to us. And this one coming up, everyone says this, but I think this one coming up is the best record we've made.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not because it's new, but because I just legitimately think it's the best.
Yeah.
It sounds like you just kind of took the first two in the EP and you threw it into a blender kind of, and then that's, you know, just, you know, this thing came out sort of,
cool.
You know, so
Can't wait to hear it.
I'm excited for that. So just hoping everything pans out the way we want it.
Awesome. Well, you're gonna have to let us know when it comes out. The one little snippet of a song you sent me, I did like that one. I told you that.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty cool. I do like that one. So
yeah,
can't wait to hear more.
I've always got little snippets and stuff. You know, man.
Well,
you know,
send them my way.
I think I've got like one right now. If you want to hear one, I'll actually like for the end of this, I assume like we're like close to, like, how far are we along?
We're at an hour and 11 minutes.
Okay.
We're done.
We're done? Okay, cool. So I can let's see. I can put some, stop it. I don't even like the speaker, dude. I hate the speaker, like, for real though. Let's see. I'll actually play a little bit of like another little snippet. Maybe you'll think it's a little bit interesting.
All right, cool.
It's a song. It's one of the a lot of songs on this I feel like are accessible, whatever that means. But I feel that this one is. Let's see. In the way that I would usually mean. Other people are going to have different opinions about, like, you know, what their favorite is, what they get into most, you know. We're going to try and shoot a video, maybe even two. It probably won't be for this song, but this song though, you know, this is probably going to be one of those where, like, to me, it seems very much like easy to understand, like right away, like you get right into it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can't, like, I'll go ahead and play like a little bit of it. Let's see. So it's called Catch a Dream. That's one of the tracks that's on there.
Okay. It's cool. Oh, you do a little different stuff on the vocals there, huh? It's good. Nice.
That's
cool.
Yeah, it's a little bit of it like that. So you know, you got a little bit of everything. You know, there's still some harsh vocals and stuff. I feel like a lot of things are more melodic on this, just in general. But you know, we're pretty excited. It should be really cool.
Yeah, it sounds good. It sounds like you changed up your vocals just a little bit, especially when you did that scream.
Right. Yeah. There's like a little bit, like I said, man. It's like a little bit of everything, you know. Because sometimes, like in the past, some of the tracks will be that. Some of the tracks will be. For me, it's like, you know, whatever the verse, whatever the line needs, whatever the lyric needs, you know. If I need to, you know, sound like I just got kicked in the jewels, or if I need to, you know, if I need to just like go down deep with it or whatever, you know, that's just whatever it calls for. And you know, we don't care if that's not allowed or it's not. You know?
It's metal. I mean, everything's allowed pretty much.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, right.
Whatever works for the song. That's all that matters.
Yeah, yeah. That's what keeps things exciting for us.
Yeah, you can't keep it the same. You gotta change things up every once in a while.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you I really appreciate you coming on. That's better.
Sure, man. Absolutely. Yeah, it was a really cool experience. Definitely an awesome experience. Maybe we'll be able to do this again sometime.
Yeah, when your new album comes out, definitely come back on.
Cool. Yeah. And yeah, everyone that will be watching, thank you very much for taking time to watch this. I don't know how he's gonna cut this up. It's probably gonna get cut up, but
I'm not cutting it up. This is all going on. There's nothing to cut up. What am I gonna cut up?
I don't know, man. Like I don't know, like you know, I don't know about like the attention span if people are trying to watch like something that's an hour long. You know, I mean that's like my thing. I like doing that.
Yeah.
You know, but then like stuff like that I watch is like Joe Rogan talking to Steven Tyler about UFOs. You know, I don't know if this is that interesting, you know, on that level. But I'm trying, all right? Yeah. So anyway, you know, anyone who's taking a look at this, likes the music, support anything, thank you very much. I love you all very much.
Where can they go to, you know, check out your band?
Right now, honestly, like, dude, just go for music, strictly music. Any streaming service has everything we have. Spotify. I assume Tidal, if Tidal's even a thing anymore. I
don't even know what the hell that is.
You know, Apple Music, like everything. That's like strictly music. Amazon, like you could. It's hard not to find our stuff digitally. Yeah. Okay, like it's difficult not to find. I'll put it that way. Information, stuff like that. Just go to just visit the Facebook that we have. You know,
the Facebook is just facebook.com/Skyliner. Or is it Skyliner Metal or band or something? Because there is an older band called Skyliner, and when you just look up Skyliner, they come up. So you gotta search.
We don't talk about them though.
No, I never heard of them. I'm just saying.
I don't even know who they are, honestly. No, I think it's Skyliner Music, like Facebook Skyliner Music, I believe. And then the YouTube, which is the YouTube, like there's not lots of videos on our YouTube, but it's because I don't want to like flood people with stuff. I like putting things up that like will matter, you know? Yeah. There's like lyric videos. There's some in studio stuff on there. There's some interesting stuff. I believe that's YouTube, Skyliner Band. Okay. But either way, like if you look up the name and you see something crazy that's probably like in space somewhere, it's got like a crop circle on it.
That's the right one.
You see like a long-haired hooligan like myself. That's us.
That's you.
You know, that's us. Go for it. Put on the headphones, wherever you listen to. Just play it loud. You know, enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. I do enjoy it, and you will too.
And you will too.
You will. All right, Jake. Thank you very much again coming on, and
thank you, sir.
We will be talking soon.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Good luck. We're recording, and good luck with the new album, and we'll see you next time.
Take it easy, y'all.
All right. Adios. Bye-bye, everybody. Oh, go check our website out, www.ratsaladreview. I'm forgetting my own website.
That's right. That's right. Check that out too. Because
RedSoundReview.com.
You know, in case you didn't know, those are the people doing this video now. It's their fault. So check them out.
That's right. And also go check out the people who we are a sponsor of, the Hamin Media Group. Go check out all their stuff. They got conspiracy shows, wrestling shows, sports shows, dude, everything.
That's right. I saw that link too. I was going to check that. Yeah, I was scrolling and I saw that. And I was like, well, that looks cool.
Yeah, definitely go check out the conspiracy. I love conspiracy stuff. So.
Dude, yeah, what he said, do that.
Yeah, go do that stuff. So, see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
wretched lies. Broken spirit, face the third, with stealing salted eyes.